back to my channel. Today we are doing the November plan with me. It's very exciting, and let's just jump right into it. So first, I wanted to actually start this video by showing you guys the tools I'll be using. So I'm showing here my favorite Crayola super tips. Today I'm using 2 shades of brown, a bright orange, and a red berry color, as well as 2 of my mind liners, both in orange and yellow, and my white gel pen, the Jelly Roll. I also will be using this 6x6 scrapbook pad. I got this from Target. It's amazing, very fall, and it has gold foil with brown background, and of course washi tape. I have some orange glittered washi tape as well as my noted gold foil washi tape. Of course, we have our iconic Pilot juice pen and my Tombow Fudenosuke heart tip pen. And that's it, guys. And my ruler, and jumping right into it, we are drawing out my usual calendar layout. As you guys know from my last video, I explained how this is really easy to do. I like to keep it simple and done, just draw out the whole grid. Next, I went into my scrapbook pad and pulled out just the plain brown scrapbook paper, and I'm playing around with some different layering to do with the other colors, just for a pop of color for my important title of November. And now with my Fudenosuke pen, drawing that in calligraphy, pretty simple, and I'm going to glue it in for the title. I like doing this because I felt like it gave it the whole page some good texture, which I usually don't get into, but pretty simple, and you just add that for the title. And I also went in with my white gel pen and added a little bit of outline, just for a little bit of depth. And now I am writing out the days of the week with my brush tip pen, keeping them pretty simple. This time I did a print font instead of my usual calligraphy font, just to spice things up. And now I'm going in with my berry color and putting that in between the lines, and then with the light shade of brown, just for a little bit of depth. Now I'm using some of my Crayola super tips and seeing if I could use those as the dots for my days of the week with my white gel pen, but it didn't really work out, and I ended up just going in with the Tombow Fudenosuke and then putting the white gel pen over that. Don't really know if that made sense, but if you look at my last video, you can see how I did a similar thing with the black dots. I did make the black dots a little bit smaller this time, so it's a little hard to see the white gel pen, but I promise you it's there. No calendar is complete without a beautiful drop shadow. Again, I feel like I keep using this, but I like to do this for the depth and kind of making that calendar pop out. And now we are on the fun part, which is doodles. So I did off camera use my pencil to draw in a few doodles, but as you can see here, I'm overlaying it with my Pilot juice pen. I chose some very autumn themed doodles, so we have a lot of leaves, and we have a basket full of apples, a cup of cocoa, apples, pumpkins, a rake, a cup of coffee again, because this is the time for hot coffee. I love fall, living for it. And I also added a fuzzy hat and an umbrella. And for my don't forget box this time, I actually made it into a scarf, and I put that in there. And again, I will try to link all of my Pinterest inspiration down below, so you also have an idea if you want to include these doodles in your bullet journal. And I did want to put this out there that I did go a little ham on my doodles this time. I got a little too excited, I guess. In my opinion, I would have made it a little less crowded. I felt like I really went in with a little too much of the doodles, but hey, you never really can have too much doodles, can you? So, going in with the super tips, nothing fancy here. I'm just adding some outlines, a pop of color, at least one pop of color in each doodle. Again, this might have been another, I won't say mistake, but thing I could improve on is I felt like I added a little too much color. If that makes sense. I should have just outlined a few things, but it is that color that really brings in that autumn-esque part of this spread. So I had fun still, and that's all that matters. my gold foiled washi tape, and I'm using this to section off the days I have off this month, which is the election day and of course Thanksgiving break. How exciting. So after that, I am now going in and just making sure everything's right, maybe going over a few lines, and now we're on to our next spread. So I don't know if any of you all are seniors out there watching this, but if you are, you know the pain of college applications, and that literally took up my entire October, which also meant some of my self-care routines and things I did to have some downtime and to take care of myself did go a little bit in the back burner. So I decided to make a spread on just kind of things to help myself to do this month to take care of myself. And I think this is always a great idea if you're really wanting to get into something in a month or whatever, even if it's for a day, making a whole spread about it, whether it's simple or complicated, whatever you want, can really help yourself be accountable for that and remind yourself to go do those things. So that is what I'm doing here. I grabbed that brown scrapbook paper and put that for the title, used my Tombow pen to draw out some decorations coming from that and leaves and all of that good stuff. So as you can see, my camera died and I actually went through some of the doodles and didn't realize that. So here I'm showing you after and adding to it, but I basically added things like cup of coffee, planning, using some of my favorite scents of lotion, practicing fun songs on the piano, face mask, which I did put a sad face by because it's kind of scary looking, but things like that, hydrating, and I definitely will link my Instagram down below if you guys want to have a closer look at what I put on there, and I drew a doodle for each one, nothing too complicated. And on the next page, we're going into my bucket list. So again, October was such a busy month that I didn't get to do fun things, and I love fall. I don't know about you guys, so all of these fall things that I didn't get to do in October, I wanted to put on a spread to get excited to do in November. And this includes things like getting coffee at one of my favorite coffee shops, and going outside, taking a hike, wearing cozy sweaters, things like that. And then below that, I added a little goals section. I usually don't add this, but this time I wanted to because I don't know if any of you guys read your horoscope, but I love reading my horoscope, and for the month of November, it did talk about self-care, and this month is gonna be a little more calm and more of me taking care of myself than October, and I wanted it down there. So I put in that quote, and I also went in and added some of my old paper from the back of this book, the same color as the paper in right now, obviously, because there's some like residue of blue there, so I needed to fix that a little bit. And I added a few more to my bucket list, like watching some movies and playing some of my favorite board games. So on to my next spread. This is my weekly spread. So my weekly spread is pretty basic. I won't say it's anything too complicated. It's actually very much like, those agendas we had back in elementary school that sectioned off like each class in a box. It is literally that. It's so funny kind of looping around back to that simple spread that we used to have, just because, I don't know, I used to resent it so much. I was like, I want to use my own thing, I want to be creative. And here I am going back to that. I just find it really simple. It's an easy grid to lay out and just draw in every week, and it's easy to see for each class. I used to make very extensive to-do lists, and I found those actually really stressed me out. So I have a section for each of my classes, or I have a section for 5 of my classes. One class is directed study, which I usually don't have homework for, and then I just section off for Monday to Friday, and then that last column I have is, I call it a this week column, where I put some of my events before school and after school during the whole week. And below all of the boxes I have for each class, I have a longer box for to-do lists for that day. There I'll put things like practicing piano, or small projects I have outside of school that have to do with my clubs or competitions, whatever the case may be. So that's just a place. Sometimes I'll have very extensive lists there, sometimes just one thing. Really flexible. And then I went in with my Tombow pen to write the day and the date up at the top, and then at the very top I put in the week. so I can keep track. And I will also, so I don't go crazy with my weekly spreads in terms of decoration. If you are looking for something where you can really get into your weekly spread, I highly recommend looking at Amanda Rachel Lee's YouTube channel and her November plan with me. It's super decorated, super fun. I don't have, unfortunately, that much time for that, so I do a little bit of decorating at the top. It varies by week. This week I drew out some lines and drew out leaves coming from them, and then leaves floating around on the page next to it. Something super basic, but still getting that autumn feel, and it's really cool to actually look like when you flip through your bullet journal and each month and all of their weekly spreads look cohesive, at least using, the same colors and whatever the theme may be. I really went all out in October, which I can show you guys in another video if you're curious, with my weekly spreads. So it's always fun, and it does give you at least that little bit of outlet each week to decorate your weekly spread. So here we have all of the spreads for the month of November. Here is my first weekly spread, which I didn't show you guys, but again, really basic. Going in with those browns and berries gets me so excited for November. Absolutely so fun. I think I'm actually going to go back and color in some of those drawings I had in the self-care page, so I'll let you guys know on my Instagram how those are looking. And here's the final weekly spread. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Have a great November.